to say thank you. This is our first edition of our YouTube channel, presentations and teachings. And I want you to also know that we will be on this. We are inviting you to actually follow us. We are inviting you to subscribe. We are inviting you to be part of this ongoing series of leadership training, development, and mentoring. We want to say thank you. Today we're going to be looking at how do you become an effective leader. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And in these minutes we have, I wanted to also take notes and check yourself, write the things that are going to be good for you so that by the time we finish everything, you will have so much to add to what you also have if you were the one presenting these lectures. The first thing we're going to be looking at is definition of leadership. We have definitions of leadership. By study, there are about 330 definitions on just leadership. 330. And you know very well we cannot go on with that. I can finish them to begin to. So I decided to actually select. And the one I came up with some few other ones added to it, is those of my mentor, late Dr. Miles Monroe. And I will be coming up with that. We are also going to be looking at becoming an effective leader. What do we need? So we definitely need some things that will make us to become effective. The other thing we're going to be looking at is that how do you face challenges as a leader? And you're going to face them because leadership is actually challenges. It's crisis. It's also providing solutions and causing things to come that way. So we're going to be looking at how do you face them, because you will face them. Sometimes I've heard people say, I never thought leadership is like this, but leadership actually is like this. You are going to cry as a leader. You're going to weep. You're going to be misunderstood. You are going to be rejected. You are going to be criticized. And you're going to be loved. Now, depending on the situation, sometimes leadership look like a chameleon color. You know, when you're doing good, everybody praise you. But once you do something bad, they forget about the good and go on to something else. So we're going to be looking at that. We are also going to be looking at effective leaders are actually empowered individuals. You know, they are individuals that are empowered. And the reason is because they have done self-development. Some of them actually do that. Some of them are actually effective, but they also need to be developed and moved to the next level. So we're going to be looking at all of those things in this ongoing series. It might not be on this particular first edition, like I said. Then we're going to be looking at how do you expand your personal empowerment. And that is also one of the things, because if you are watching, you are actually trying to expand, to enlarge, and to come up to some things that you're going to do to become a better leader. And then we are going to be considering some of the summaries as we are ending this particular topic as we move on into the future. Question: what is leadership? So we're going to be looking at, like I told you, I have selected just one to help us to look at. And there are components. There are things that you're going to look at them, underline them, pick some words that are going to jump out from the definition. This is a quote from Miles Monroe on what is leadership. This is how he defines it, that a leader or leaders are ordinary people who accept or are placed under extraordinary circumstances that bring forth their latent potential, producing a character that inspires the confidence and trust of others. We are going to be taking that, like I said, is a definition that we need to look at it critical to see. The leaders, first, they are ordinary people. So when we are talking about leaders, don't be looking at extraordinary, because one of the things I have seen, even in my few years of studying leadership and working with people, is that people have never actually gotten to the point of knowing that leaders are ordinary people. It's one of the reasons why the tumultuous crisis, criticisms, misunderstanding, abuses, insults are. It's like, why do you say you're a leader and you're not doing good? They just want to exempt you from the ordinary. They want to believe that you were born like that. And so you are not supposed to make a mistake. You're not supposed to do something bad. You are not supposed to mismanage. You are not supposed to misdirect or mislead. So many things like that. People have their own mindset about what a leader actually is. But leaders are ordinary people. And I want you to understand, even you that are listening and watching, you are actually a leader. But what is making you not to believe or accept it is because you think leaders are not ordinary. And because you think you are ordinary, that is where you place yourself. That is your judgment. That is what you believe that you are. So you don't want to accept the fact that I am a leader. First, establish the fact that leaders are ordinary people. They are first ordinary people. What is the second thing that actually we are looking at even in this definition? A working template. The second one, he said, who accept or are placed under extraordinary circumstances. So now let's look at leaders are ordinary people, but they are also placed or they accept extraordinary circumstances. That is how they become extra. That's why we are actually criticizing them. That even you as an ordinary leader, you could also be placed under an extraordinary circumstance. And when you are placed there, which we are looking at extra, then if you have not been prepared before that placement, if you have not been prepared before the crisis, you're going to find out that you're going to actually have a lot of problems. So let's look at it. If I accept an extraordinary circumstance, or I am placed in two things. One, you accept. To accept simply means to willingly do so. But to be placed, it is not the same. It might be that somebody saw you and among 10 people, they just feel out of 10 of us, you stand a chance to be better. So they now place you. They either elect you, or they vote you, or they nominate you, or they appoint you, or they just sought your consent. And now you accept, yes, I'm going to actually lead. But you see, when you accept, that does not mean that you know everything about that situation. Because the situation, as we are describing it now, is an extraordinary circumstance, which means it's beyond your present status for now. But you're going to take it, which means you're going to have optimism that you're going to handle it. You are also going to take it because you're going to place your life by faith that I am going to do this. Or you're going to stick out your neck, like we say, to see how you're going to work that. And it is one of the reasons why we have few leaders. Why? Because number one, there are people who actually see a lot of things, but they're not going to accept the circumstances that is before them. Then number two, there are also people that are placed there. And so, when you place somebody in an extraordinary situation or circumstances, that person is either qualified or is actually going to prove you that his placement was completely prematured. And so he might actually get into the situation and the situation can get worse. He can also get into the situation and the situation can become better. So you need to know all of these things are coming because of preparation. So I want you to think. Number one, they are ordinary people, leaders. And you can actually become a leader. The only thing that will make you a leader is not that you have not seen the circumstances. It's not that you have not seen challenges or crises. It's the acceptance of challenges that differentiate you from the other ones that are just sitting and watching. So when you dare the circumstance or the situations, when you come to a place where you say, I want to get into this and I want to be part of it, you are going to be a person who is accepting. And even if you are voted or looked upon or sought upon, and they say, look, we consider you to be better than us, we consider you to know better, or we consider you to be more bold than what we are. We think you can actually do this. And finally, you're not accepted. So they have placed you. It might not be necessary in life that you have all the answers as a leader. That is not true. You don't have all the answers as a leader. But you learn. You challenge yourself, you challenge the situation, you move into it, and you just make sure that everything you're going to do is going to come up from this point, and that you actually accept the responsibility to become. Now, we're going to be looking at that. Why is it that we are placed under an extraordinary circumstances? The reason is to bring forth their latent potential. Latent potential is something that is in you. And for those of you who are actually followers of Miles Morrow, like I am, you know very well that there are great potential in each and every one of us here. And God put those in each and every one of us. Ordinary people have potential. The extraordinary who accepted leadership, they also have extra. They have potential right inside of them. So leadership under extraordinary circumstances helps you bring out that which, if you were left like that, you wouldn't have come to that point. So the first thing that will make you a better person, an effective person, is to learn to accept challenges. You don't run away from challenges. One of the big things I'm going to say throughout what I'm doing now is that you must learn to accept challenges. Don't just see situations and say, I'm not going to do that. No. Don't also begin to be a person who always backs out from circumstances, situations. And, real leaders are motivated by challenges and crises. I have seen that. Great leaders face great problems. They face great situations. They face enormous things that are going on around them. But if you are actually going to be also somebody who is going to be a great leader, then you have to come up, accept extraordinary circumstances or challenges, and come up. To so many of us know very well that Nelson Mandela, he actually saw everything. And within himself, he just decided, look, I am going to face this extraordinary thing in South Africa. And it took 27 years to face one problem. Why? It's because that was bringing every day out of his life and his team and his colleagues latent potential. And we have never seen, even those who were with him, till he entered into the jail and stayed there for 27 years, maybe most of them didn't even see the potential in Nelson Mandela. But when he was freed, he also freed South Africa. And now we have seen that if he had remained, because there were lawyers like him, there were people like him during his time, his age mates were there, his schoolmates were there, they faced the same situation. But only one person decided to say, I accept this challenge. I am going to place myself under this extraordinary situation or challenges, and I'm going to proffer a solution. It happened. So now we can mention Nelson Mandela. And we have the right to say he's extraordinary. Why? Because he is actually a leader, but he has been an ordinary man. And he came up to that point and did great and mighty work, which he did. So we are going to be looking at certain things like this and see how God is going to work them and make them to be great. So first, the reason for you to be under circumstances, not to be defeated. I want you to understand that. Now, especially us, we are, especially in Africa, once somebody faces a problem, what do? We say, oh, this thing is going to kill me. This thing is going to destroy my life. So we don't know how to use circumstances that are so challenging as a litmus test to bring out the best latent potential inside of you. We used to hear this statement that Lipton is very good, but until it faces pressure. When you put it inside hot water, then you're going to find out that, yes, the best of it is going to come out. So are also green teas. But we are saying that you are actually great, but you are going to be greater when you see a situation and you come headlong, look at it, and then you're going to do that. When you study the book, which is the manual for life, it's called the Bible. When you read, you're going to find one story, the story between the Philistines and you have them as the Israelites. There was a war going on, and the war was brewing and everything was tough, and they say, okay, let's do something. So the Philistines were the ones who first challenged Israel. They challenged their God, challenged them as a people, and challenged their weaponry, and challenged even their military force. And Philistines, they decided, we are going to just get one person to fight. We are not going to all go to war. We just need one person to go. And at that time, Goliath has already become the one person that among the ordinary, he wanted to become extraordinary. And he accepted an extraordinary challenge, which is, I'm going to defeat Israel and they're going to become our slaves. So he represented a nation. And he came out and challenged Israel. And he said, I want you to send me one man that we're going to fight. If I defeat him, you are our slaves. If he defeats me, then we are, you are. And he never needed. So it was one-on-one fight. And which is the most greatest, it's like taking a penalty. When you are playing a football and you come to a place where they allow you to be the one to fire the penalty, everything about you is dying at the same time. And sometimes you find anxiety, you find fears that are not expressed, mismanage your body, and then you also misfire, because those are things that happen to us. So Goliath stood and did that. And Israel was not able to get somebody who could accept. Now you remember that I said the leaders are extraordinary. They are ordinary people with extraordinary thing under circumstances. For 40 days, Israelites, the army, were not able to say, I'm going to go. They just dock in one place for 40 days. And Goliath will come up every day and challenge them. And every day they will dock. Until one time, here comes a shepherd boy by the name of David. And when he was sent by his father to take food to the army. Sometimes I read and I see how God is doing his own things. How could a young boy like this be sent to a war zone to carry bread? And I was looking at, what was the government doing? Were they not giving food? Who was supposed to supply food to the people? Why will Jesse be so specific about his own sons that were enlisted in the army of Israel, and he wanted to volunteer their feeding, to send food, and he was sending a boy to go to that point? So it's looking like our Nigerian government. You are in the hospital, but you stay in the hospital, you are sick, they are going to diagnose everything, do the prescription, and they will tell you go and buy. That's going to be. Instead of all the drugs and the medication and everything to be given to you from the hospital, they are now sending you back to some shops. And then we go there, you'll find that this drug is not good, this one is expired, this one doesn't have the strength that it's supposed to be. And they'll be telling you, be careful, some are fake and some are good. Now, who is supposed to know fake or good drugs? It's still the pharmacist. But they send you at your own derail. You just have to go like that. And then you keep telling people. And nobody selling drug will tell you that this one is not a good drug. Why? It's business. I'm here for money, so I will never tell you I don't have all my drugs are good. That has been. So David showed up, and while he was coming with bread for his brothers, then Goliath showed up again. Now what a coincidence. And then when that happened, you just read the story. It was so clear. It was so clear that when Goliath came up and started ranting, David listened. And then he asks, who is this man? Question number one. Now, when you ask, who is this man? You want to know what right has he? What authority is he having? What guts is he having? Who is behind him? What forces are behind him? Who is making him to do this? What is prompting him to do this to us? And then they gave him the answers. And then he asked the second question: what can be done to the person who is going to deal with this person? And they said, well, King Saul has made so many things like that. I want you to understand, you may be looking at maybe a reward system that David was looking for. No. He just was coming to a place where he could become an effective leader. And seeing a circumstance, seeing also a placement, he decided to say all things. He just told the king and said, look, I'm going to go. I will go. So he placed himself. Now remember, he accepted the challenge. He was not placed under that situation. He saw it, he accepted, and he volunteered to go into it. And I am telling you this, there are things that we see. Now, you will never know if you are as strong as the situation, or you are stronger than the situation, or the situation is stronger than you are, but you will never know what your potential can do. That is why placing yourself under extraordinary challenges and situations can bring out the best out of you. It is the latent power that you have inside of you. And today we never would have said David was a great man if he had not done that. He had the right to say, oh, this is army to army. I've just brought bread. Let me go my way. And have you heard people say that one? Well, I'm not a leader. Things in your environment are not going good. And then you say, I'm not a leader. Everybody's doing some funny things in your environment. You say, I'm not a policeman. I'm not a military man. I'm not a politician. I am not that. All of these statements is a sign that we are insensitive to situations around us. But remember what I'm saying, that if you're going to be an effective leader, you must see challenges that are not connected to anything you are, but they are connected to your environment and to humanity. And you're going to stick out your neck, come out and solve it. And when you do that, you're going to find out that there is a power that is unleashed that has never been without that situation. So sometimes, actually, and most cases, situations and challenges and circumstances, hard times just come to reveal leaders out of who we are. And it is better for you to start accepting that that is what we are. So what is it? I want you to see here that you can actually face situations that are 3 times, 4 times higher than you are. But when you begin to release your latent power, which is your potential, you will do great and mighty things. What are we supposed to do in the definition? Now, when they are to actually bring out the latent potential in you. Why? Producing a character that inspires the confidence and trust of others. Now, when that latent power is actually released, all of a sudden you see character comes in. That was why David, you know, you don't need to even say anything about when David dealt with Goliath, which is actually what we're supposed to be doing in every country, that every leader in a country should be able to provide solution to all his people. David did not provide a solution in this situation just for him, but for the whole nation. You see how effective leaders can contribute to the growth and development of their own country, to their own family, to their own local government, to their own constituencies, to their own region, now, and to their continent, because we have all of this. Great leaders become benefits to so many people, and people can rejoice under such a great power. Let's look at it. Think about it. Just think about it, that Goliath didn't show up. What would have happened? First, we will never have heard his name. No. The reason why you are hearing his name is because they have to go backwards to tell you the history of how he was and what he was, that he could not do this thing. There was nothing compared with him, to be compared between him and Goliath, both from age and from experience and from whatever you're going to be thinking of. But this man came in. That latent power that he decided to exercise brought in character. And that character was that this man trusted God. He trusted God. That was one thing. He believed that if I leave this thing, These people have been here for 40 days. 40 days. I tell you, there is almost nothing would have happened to them. What were they doing in that bush? They were just sitting down eating, supplying food and eating, and that's all. Because none of them could stand up to do something. And one funny thing is that they didn't also go back home. I look up the army of Israel and then the army of Gideon. You see the contrast? The army of Israel pretended as if they were fighting. They stayed there for 40 days. The army of Gideon, God said unto them, the people are too many. There are too many. Take them out. So he said unto him, he said, the only thing you're going to do is that go there, sit down and announce. Any one of you who is afraid, go back home. I mean, that announcement was what a relief. It was like an independence to so many of them. Some of them rejoiced with great, because with all their uniform and weapons and everything, telling your father and your mother bye-bye and your wife, children that you are going. And only for 2 days, here you are coming back. What happened? The same thing that afflicted the army of Gideon was the same thing that was afflicting the whole army of Saul. Why? That is actually what happened to them. So I want you to begin to think that it produces, people now begin to see David from a different aspect. They will begin to honor him. And if you study carefully, you're going to find out that because he was effective, what happened? They now saw that, this young boy, we didn't even ask his name. They didn't even ask of his name when he was talking, until he killed Goliath. And then they began to say, what is his name? Whose father is this? They have to get into that. Most times, people will not know anything about you until you have done something that is extra. And that is what makes you effective. You know, we can be normal and we can be common. But once you do something that will aid you out and bring you out, you're going to find out that you're going to be absolutely different. So producing a character that inspires. The moment Goliath came down, those people, they stood up, and you see what happened. They ran after the Philistines as if they blew a whistle. They run. Why? Because somebody has destroyed the thing that was actually their nightmare. Now they believe that with this, we can even kill the Philistines. So they started running after the Philistines. And that is what effective leaders do. They do something to produce confidence and inspire others to do something more. That has been. From 100 meters, if you look at the records, they will say, nobody will ever break this record. No human will ever do this. But over time, if one person runs and breaks that record, the same year, you're going to find out so many people will also break that same record. Why? Because somebody has come to take something extra and produce a character and inspires people with confidence to go over certain things. I want to say very well that when people have confidence, the next thing that comes in automatic is trust. Let me tell you this. All the people that you are not trusting is because you have not seen anything that they have done that has inspired you with confidence. That is. Now, you see this country, we felt from the first place that PDP didn't inspire us so much. Didn't do something to produce character. Oh no, they didn't challenge great problems in this country. They dilly-dally around words, and we said no. So when APC came up and they started putting us on the manifesto, they gave us so many. Their speeches turned us from defeat to become men who were inspired to vote. And people came out and they did. You know, one of the things that happened is that a lot of people did a lot of voting. It inspired, but also there was also a lot of rigging. So all of them came together and they came to that point. So I want you to see that we started trusting just a party. We just started. And then people began to say, well, you know, Buhari is a very good man from his years of this and things like that. I wonder why people trusted him. And when he came to power, they were looking for a certificate. Have you seen what we did in this country? We say, he must produce a certificate. Did he go to primary school or whatever is going to happen? And now we are hooked. We are everything that we have, and we call it as what is supposed to be. Trust has completely gone. Now, what are we looking for? We are looking for 2023. Is there any person who is going to come up like David and deal with Goliath of this country? What exactly are we going to be? So I wanted to actually think about that. I wanted to also look at this and then I wanted to sense it and have it. True leadership is born out of a guiding vision. True leadership. If you're going to be an effective leader, you must have a vision. A vision is simply a mental picture of a preferred tomorrow. You know, tomorrow is what everybody is looking for. Everybody. People who don't want to die today. The reason why they don't want to die today is because they want to live tomorrow. That is, somebody who is not having money today but is happy. He believes that today will pass and tomorrow is going to come. So they have a mental picture of something better, something coming up, and is always in the tomorrow. So a vision is actually a mental picture of a preferred tomorrow. And every person who actually died or was killed or was murdered or was jailed, it's because they saw something that contradicts the presence. And we have seen so much of that. Moses came to Egypt. He saw the Israelites, and God said unto them, there is a better future. There's a place that is running with milk and honey. And he said to them, I will take you there. Moses was to take them. They didn't just leave Egypt because they wanted to keep going. No. And actually, that is our problem when we come to Nigeria. Nigeria as a country, we don't have a national vision. I wanted to check all of you that are politicians, all of you that are leaders in the government, all of you that are leaders in whatever area or organizations, the military, the police, all kinds, the religious people. If you check our people and this country called Nigeria, we don't have a vision. There is no mental picture of what Nigeria could look like. Both from the top down to the grassroots. All we have is that we have a country and we want to do anything in this country. And that is not what we are here for. You see, that is the reason why for the virtuous cycle, people are doing evil and they keep repeating and keep repeating and keep repeating. If there's anything that all Nigerians can accept, the vision to have plenty money and suppress and oppress people is number one in people's hearts. I want to be so rich so others are going to be bowing before me. You know, my name is going to be a household name. But that is all that it happens. And we have come through that way. There is nowhere you're going to look at this Nigeria from the constitution down to all the operational systems of what makes this country. From PDP to APC and the other, there are plenty parties in this country. All of them. Their visions, just go through them. You will not see a vision. All they are having is mission statements. You know, we'll provide roads. We'll provide airports. We are going to give you rivers. There will be oceans. There will be trains. And you know, those are not actually, they are not visions. They are not. They are mission statements. A mission statement is what you do to solve a problem. That is all. But they are not having a vision. So now I have to look at where the roads are very, very bad. I use them to campaign. Where the rails stopped, because now I can say I can extend Kaduna Railway down to Kano. It will go to Gombe, then go to Maiduguri and go to Yola, come through Taraba and come. Now, why? Because I'm actually, that is not a vision. All of those things are projects. You know, so you have no right to confuse yourself with what is called a vision and projects. Achievements are not visions. They are not. So a vision is what everybody is going to go and becomes a guiding point. That is what guides. That even if the person dies, who is a leader, somebody can come and continue with that vision. Because the vision is not owned by one person. It's owned by a country. And so how to make that vision realize It's supposed to be something written down. That is why we are to know who is running this country with an order, which means there is an order, there's a line of direction, there is something on ground for us to do. Everybody, we have how many states in this country? Just begin to find out what is happening to us, and you're going to begin to see that, hey, everybody runs his state as a family. They run it. They wake up and say something. Then they go to bed, think of something. Tomorrow they announce it. And that's what we are. So it's like trial and error. And vision does not come from that aspect. So I want you to understand that true leadership is born out of a guiding vision. And also a passion to accomplish a noble task. Now, true leadership is born out of a guiding vision, number one. Number two, it is also born out of a passion to accomplish a noble task. What is the task that you really see that is noble that you want to actually come in? Mahatma Gandhi, the Indian man, a lawyer. You know, if you study how he got into that aspect, there was something he wanted to really, he had a vision of what's going to be. His experience in South Africa as a lawyer who came to handle something in South Africa, but discovered that he was completely pushed aside, he was removed, he was completely not, and he was thrown out of a first class. Why? Because of race, skin color. They look at him as a man of color. You are not supposed to be in the first class. What was that? He said to himself, he said, I can actually take my bag and go back to India. And this problem will continue in South Africa, which means the black race will always go through hell. I can actually leave it and go back. It will not be bad. But I don't want this thing to continue. So he said, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay and fight no matter how long. And when he came to solve a law problem, now, a legal problem, now he stayed there for months. And by the time he stayed, he gathered groups, he made up pressure groups, he started discussing with them that this evil has to stop. Not because they did it to me, but they will do it to everybody. So he saw a vision, or he saw in the future where color will never make the difference in operation. And he fought for it until he went back to India and freed his own people. So if you see him and you see Nelson Mandela and then Martin Luther King Jr. and then Mother Teresa seeing children, and then you see Corrie ten Boom, you are going to come up to a place. J.F. Kennedy, why will they kill people like this? It is because what they are seeing is far above what is in the presence. And people love the presence more than what they are supposed to be seeing. And that's why people cannot come up and say, look, I'm going to be. So I want to ask you, for you to become an effective leader, the first thing you need to understand is that you must have a guiding vision. It's born out of a vision, a preferred. The book of life has to say that without vision, people perish. The word perish is the word they cast off restraint. It means people are not going to be controlled in a country where there's no vision. There's no control. You will never manage people. You are not going to guide people. Everybody will do whatever they want to do because there is no vision. There is nothing that will bring people to say, hey, this is where we are going. That is why in Nigeria today we have all kinds of things going on because we lack where we are going. Can you see a country where there is no bloodshed? Can you actually visualize a country where nobody will snatch anything from any other person? Can you see a country mentally where men and women, young and old, are respected? Can you see a country where the transport system is so clean? Nobody's going to harass you. When you are traveling, you don't need to pray 7 prayers and fast 7 days because you want to reach from A to B. That is not supposed to be. Can you see a country where education is the highest, and then that people finish school and they are working and they don't need to become any nuisance in the society? Are you seeing a country where when you have the president, the governor, when you have a house of rep, when you have a senator, that these people are literally going to leave, and whatever is given for as allocation to the constituency, everybody gets it? Can you see? Are you seeing any country like this in your mind? That is what is supposed to be a guiding. And when we say we are going to have a country where there is no corruption, yes, how are you going to reach there? With the corrupt leaders that are. We say EFCC will come in and solve a problem, and I don't know whether the people are the ones corrupt or the EFCC is also the one that is so corrupt. So how do you solve these problems? That has become a problem. Lecturers molesting students and then making them to look something else. How do we get our educational system correct? I want you to understand, it will take a man that is having true leadership spirit to come up and to handle that task and provide what is called a noble task. How many noble tasks are we going to be talking about in this country? Almost everything in this country. When they started telling us that we should accept that Nigeria is a failed state, insults were coming from all over. But you see, the point is that you may even raise those voices and begin to criticize and abuse the people who are calling you to accept something. That does not still make you not to be a failed state. You are still a failed state. Why? Because it is a point. It is something that you reach. It is something that you are not doing that qualifies you to become or to be named a failed state. So you look at this in that there is a passion to accomplish a noble task. A passion to do that. David did that. Moses led people into. Joshua brought them into and divided the land that the Lord provided for all of them. A noble task. You're going to find out how many people in this country can we actually name them. Can we name them and say that these people actually achieve? Now, if you look at the governor Zulum himself, that everybody is now beginning to see on social media, what is making him different? It's not religion. What is making him different is not that he's a governor. What is making him different is not the party. What is making him different is not that he is from Northeast. What is making this person for now? I don't know what he will become tomorrow, because sometimes we start something good and then it doesn't last. But you see, what makes somebody to achieve a noble task? It comes from the heart. It's from the heart. The heart is the true measure of a good leader. If you see people and value people, you will be a leader. Leadership starts from the heart. And that is what we are now. It does not start. You know, there are people who are leaders today because of position. Just position. Why? We elected you, so you are our governor. That's why you can trample on us. That's why you can insult us. That is why you can imprison us. That's why you can oppress us. It's the reason why you don't even think. Because to you, because of the name governor, His Excellency, that's all. It is making you look like you are not going to come. That is not a name forever. It's never a name forever. One day, we're going to call you by your name. One day, you're going to leave that office. You're going to come down to where we are. But I want you to understand, every good follows any man, both in life and after life. Good is good, not because of position, but because of the heart. There are people who abuse authority and destroy nations and countries. And there are people who have also used position to tame and to withdraw and to cast away everything that has become tyrannic to people and society. It is actually a statement from the living book. It says, when a good man rules, the people rejoice. You know, sometimes I wish all leaders could just read that. But you see, they will say, no, it's for Christians. And then this one say, these people are Muslims. Then these people are pagans. That is the problem with. There are many people who have never known or called Jesus Christ Lord, but they were great people. Great people, because greatness is not in religion. Greatness is absolutely a heart issue. So think about what we are. How are you going to become? You must have a passion That is, Henry Ford had a passion that, look, instead of using our legs all the time, he had a passion that something can be done to actually expand and enlarge our speed. The Wright brothers came and said, wow, we used to run on roads, but now what happened if we can actually even fasten these ones? An aircraft was also made. Today, we are having all kinds of, we used to use all kinds of exercise books with inks and all kinds of things, writing. They have come up with all kinds of gadgets now that are helping us. Why? Because people are solving noble tasks. I want you to think about your own. What is it that you're thinking of consistently, that if you're given the chance, you are going to come in? So to him, now, when you solve a noble task, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to inspire others to develop and release their potential. Yes, you are. Definitely you will. Now, years ago, all the lecturers were actually mentors. They were not just lecturers, they were mentors. And they will give you few students. You're going to train them after your skill, after your expertise, after your excellence, after your precision, after your character, and your name will be on the certificate. So when you are giving them, they go with your name, which means you are their certificate. And people were so afraid to leave or do something that they will not want to see in another person. Today, it doesn't happen that way. How can you inspire? How are we going to come up to do that which is going to produce inspiration and is also going to let people to release their potential? Who among the people that are with you can look at you and say, I want to be like you. I want to do things like you. You have inspired me. You are causing me to see something in me that I have never seen, which means if I have never come across you, I would never have seen anything like this in my life. So you become light unto me. You open up unto me and you are telling me by virtue of relationship and implication, you are just saying you can become like me, and you can. And one person did that kind of a great work, and his name is Jesus Christ. Now when he came, he got fishermen. Fisher of men. And he turned them to become authors. They wrote books, some of them. Some of them shook nations. Some of them had speeches that we can read about today. Some of them died as martyrs, but not as fishermen. Who is around you that you can turn that person to become an extraordinary person just because they come in contact with you? The question is how contagious you are in your effectiveness as a leader. How many people will look at you and admire you and want to be like you? How many people will look at you and say, I have seen somebody who is different from other people? How many people are going to see you and know that because of you, I have hope to live again? This is, so you help people to become inspired, and then you develop them, and then they also come to. When people see somebody who is very nice, everybody longs to be like. Nobody is asking, are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? No, they don't even ask that one. They don't ask. They don't. Absolutely they don't. Because all the time we have been talking about, if you study the history of Singapore, you're going to find out. Lee Kuan Yew, he governed Singapore for great years. And it's not because he was using manpower or positional power or dictatorship. No, people were actually voting him and allowing him to continue because they saw a vision that he casted, and all of them wanted Singapore to be like what they have been told. So they worked towards that. People cannot steal. People cannot do shortcuts in office. People cannot be late. You can't leave before time. You cannot take 5 naira from the office. You can't take a pin. You cannot remove a paper from. What is for the government or for the office, it was for. And Singapore became a challenge to other nations. You know, but I still wanted to understand, nobody was coming to ask, what religion is Lee Kuan Yew? No, people don't ask that one. When you put religion first, it's because you are not a true leader. You are never a true leader. And that is what Nigerian leaders are using to destroy us. Because they use religion to kill you. They use religion to take you out of office. They use religion to do all kinds of funny things. Funny things. You know, they are talking about having Friday as a free working day. And I'm wondering, that's Kaduna. You know, Kaduna is a republic of its own with their own president. We are just living somewhere else. How do you take away Friday? And why? It is a silent competition against Sunday. That's the truth about it. So they now want to make Friday to be free working day. Why? It is because of the agenda that is on ground. And when you begin to do or say things like this, you think you are just leading idiots who cannot, in between the lines, read and find out what is going on. That is either going to be done and is not going to be. We have had things working here in this state basically because of religion and not because of any other thing. And I know you know what I'm saying. So we have all of this. When potentials are released, it derives its fulfillment from the success, for the success of others. Because many times when people succeed, they have to connect to somebody who did something that was very good. How are you going to become an effective leader? In the few minutes I have to round up, and then we'll continue somewhere. I'm going to be giving you some things from late Colonel Colin Powell, the Secretary of State, that you know him very well, Colin L. Powell, a black man that actually is also from the African soil. You know, when I begin to also read his life biography, and then you begin to find out, I'm beginning to wonder, how is it that these people, most of them that are blacks and they have done great things, they are associated with Kenya? From their root grass, as tracing your roots where you are. I am yet to. All good people end up in Middle East. And then now that is Africa as we look at it. And I am wondering what happened. So this is what he said. I wanted to get this. This is his quote. Being responsible sometimes means pissing people off. Yes, being responsible sometimes it means pissing people, which means you throw in and you completely cause chaos. So there are crises that you create because you're an effective leader. Yes, it's not all the time solving problems. A good leader can create crisis and then manage the crisis to bring out the best out of it. And it is always like that when we destroy, then we reconstruct. But you don't destroy and leave it. Seriously, you don't do that and leave it. You know, there are some roads that we have graded. We say we're going to do them. I'm telling you, they are getting to 6 years. They are still there. They are still there. All kinds of things like there are structures we have raised by destroying other structures that we want to raise something. They are there. We didn't complete the ones that were destroyed. We didn't complete this one. And we don't know who is coming to do that. Good leadership involves responsibility to the welfare of the group. Responsibility to the welfare of the group. If you are going to be a good leader, the welfare of people is your number one. It's people, not projects. It's people. First, take care of people. And people will actually think of making projects. And when you make good projects, then the people that you have developed and taken care of will sustain and maintain and protect the projects. Or else you're going to build and do great projects as a governor. And the mindset of the people that you are governing, with which mindset you said you are going to build those structures for, they will raise them one day with fire. Just one day. Why? Because it is actually futile to begin to develop a state, just projects, and you keep doing structures and have infrastructures and leave people completely in a mediocre mindset. They become more angry and they are waiting for a day when there's going to be a riot or crisis. They will just come around and burn those things down. That is, and we have seen a lot of that. Some people will get angry with your actions and decisions. Yes, that is supposed to. A good leader actually has to come in. That's why I told us from the beginning that because we think that leaders are extraordinary, when they are doing something wrong, we become so surprised. They are not. But I want you to understand, good leaders, what they are going to do is they will get people angry. I don't want you to have this mentality that somebody who is leading you is making you angry and that the person is wrong. You are the one who is wrong. You don't have a sense of discipline to be able to know that whatever he's doing, he's actually taking me to a place that is going to be better. I want you to understand also that it's inevitable. You will always make people angry, and your actions will make people angry, and your decisions will make people angry. But at the end, they will still know tomorrow that, oh, it was for our good. It is for our good. There are some things that the governor in Kaduna is doing that are actually right. They are right. But you see, when you are doing right and it right, sometimes you do things and then you clamp on to actually produce something, but you see you have damaged somebody forever. So there must be an even way of doing it. If it means that there's going to be compensation, do it right. If it is not, explain it. Don't just use that power. Explain the reason why there should be no compensation. And let people know. If the person doesn't understand you, get somebody to explain. They will, because these are the things that we do in this. And we also know that we also, as citizens and people, we should also do things with documentation. Do all kinds. Don't just go and buy land and start building, because Nigeria is a good place to do that. Find out from the land, do the best you can, and then come up with that. So I am still saying that if you do a good job, you are going to be honorable and you will be honored. Definitely you will. So you need to understand, like I said, and I want to close on this, that being responsible, sometimes, it's not all the times, sometimes it means you have to piece people up to do the best that you're supposed to. And with this, we want to pause here. We want to say thank you for giving us your time. Do the best and leave. Find out what you're going to die for. Find out something you're going to do. Have a noble task that you're going to accomplish. And we will be heading to a great country, a great continent, and a great world. Thank you, and stay strong, stay blessed. Thank you.